Hello, pod listeners. Welcome back to an Unorthodox CEO. Hello. Welcome and thank you for tuning in again. Here we are, episode 3.
Woo woo.
Woo. Yeah. So it's just me here today, along with the lovely Victoria, of course, keeping me in check. So let's, I guess really you want to know where we're going today. So I'm Steve Pickering, and today we're going to be diving into something that can make or break a business. Let's talk about culture. Is it everything? How does it show up day to day? And can you really build a great team without it?
So let's find out.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so Steve,
Put that down. Yep.
do you want to tell us what actually is culture?
So, culture. For me, this year is a real culture year for me. So, last 18 months, we've gone through quite a ride, and I think some of our culture got a little bit blurred, so it's a really big thing. But if I look back further than that, I go back, I suppose really when I took over in 2014 from my dad, people would have said, what's culture? And I probably would have said, what a load of old crap, yeah? What a load of old rubbish, mumbo jumbo. Today, however, I really do think it is so important. Good culture for really right across the spectrum of the business. You want a team that have similar values, similar outlooks, that will gel together and work as one. Culture is values, beliefs, and I guess the personality of the business. And I think it's often pushed aside. And I guess really it goes back to when businesses are first founded. You don't need documented culture, this is who we are, because when you first start out, culture is the founders, it is the people, the tight-knit group of people that are starting that business, and it's only the importance comes as you grow, and the reason it becomes more important is more distance between, if you take our business here, we have the back office and then we have the front end of the business, and the further you get away from the central hub, the strands of culture just stretch, and communication breaks down, and suddenly individuals will put their own values into it. So it won't be you and the personality that you created. Other people will put their bits of value in. And I think that's what happens as you grow. It becomes a necessity to keep the organisation exactly how you want it.
So they say culture starts with a why. So what was your why when you took over the business?
I think our why has always, if I look at really originally, it was always about providing a customer with the best value and the best advice and a quality service. And it was never really about just selling anything to anyone. I think that's been fine-tuned. And if you look at our purpose today, our whole business is now wrapped around that, and our purpose really laid out is helping people sleep well, to experience quality sleep. Yeah, no word of selling beds or products. It is all wrapped around sleep, and every element of our business now aligns to that. From the team in store who want to provide the best advice to the consumer, so that they're purchasing the product that really suits their needs. But even down to buying, I mean, if something that's unsaid but actually is a known thing within our business, is that we will not sell anything that that our buying team would not be prepared to sleep on themselves.
Yeah.
Now that's quite. So it means that all of our products are of decent quality. So you won't find low cost budget stuff within our stores. And as a salesperson, you're pulled with that. But actually, if you stick rigidly to your purpose, it's all at the greater good. And so we potentially lose sales because we don't meet budgets of people that are wanting a low price product. But I think ultimately that's the strength, in that we are standing by principles that all of our products will provide a decent quality of sleep. Now, of course, the more you spend, the better the quality with our collections. But even our entry level, I could sleep on our entry level product, and I think that is culture. Everybody's aware of that, and even down to our delivery teams. It's about delivering a service. They will put down the products, explain the products, and really there's passion and almost a sense of pride with everything. Definitely. We sell. And I think that's where culture comes in, and it's been fine-tuned over the years. And at the heart of that is our set of values, and it's very easy for every company to go through a process of just putting up random values on a wall and then walking away and go, there we go, they're done. Yeah. It's not as simple as that. And we have 5 core values, which are responsible, caring, teamship, honest, and 100% committed. But that runs through the entire organisation, from recruitment. When we first do our initial interviews, all of the questions are not around your skill set. They are around, do you align with those values? So the questions are looking for answers that will relate to those values, and it will be pointed on that, because it is my firm belief that the attitude and the values are far more important than the skill sets within our business. That's in a nutshell. That's what I believe culture is.
Yeah.
Now, as I say, I think our culture has suffered in the last 18 months, where we went through this large IT change, and a lot of resource was put into that for 18 months, even 2 years. And so, our connections with the outer business did suffer through that period. And now we are beginning the process of putting that back together. And it is something that I'm so passionate about. For me, it's almost, I want to create a working environment that is the best working environment I can possibly create. At the end of it, we're here a long time. I want to enjoy myself, and I want the teams to enjoy themselves. You don't want to sit 8 hours a day and not enjoy it.
No, definitely
not. Business is about enjoyment as well. And I think really, I suppose culture also comes from the top, and it filters down. Take these podcasts for example. We don't filter out the mistakes. If anything, we highlight the mistakes.
They make people laugh.
Make people laugh, but also it shows that we're just human.
Totally.
And also, I do believe that our culture is about taking risks and feeling safe to take risks.
Yeah, allowing people to have that opportunity to take risks as well, I think. Yeah. Especially been seen in the last 18 months in the office.
Yeah.
lots of different people trying new things, into new roles, being given that opportunity
to innovate.
Exactly.
And I think so often, isn't it, the culture where there's a fear of making mistakes stifles
it does.
Stifles creativity, it stifles innovation, because there's a fear of failure and getting told that's not good enough and all this sort of stuff. Now, of course, if you keep making the same mistakes, there's a problem. But,
bit different.
Issue when failure is not failure, it's learning. Make a mistake. What did we do wrong? What could we do better to correct that? We're not perfect. We never will be perfect.
No.
But it's breeding a culture where it's trying to then take every issue and make it better. How can we make it better? So I think, so that I guess really I've spoken about what culture is, but also about where we sit in that culture too. And it's always been a family-friendly place.
I think a note on that, during COVID, I wasn't here during COVID, but I've heard a lot about what happened, and I think you did something every Friday night.
So we done a quiz. So a Zoom had obviously boomed and come about, and we done a quiz every Friday night. But when I reflect on COVID, and probably we'll talk about this in more detail at some point, but because 5 years on, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote an email to every single day. I think every day throughout that first lockdown.
Yeah.
I sent an email to our teams every single day, just an update, or how we're doing, how is everyone, what I was doing personally, because I picked up a ukulele and I started playing a ukulele. See, we don't.
Amazing! Didn't know that.
No, you didn't know that. No, it's because I haven't picked it up since. Well, I had trouble because I do have rather large sausage fingers, and I couldn't play B sharp, and B sharp apparently is in a lot of songs.
That you were trying to learn.
I'd be like, I want to play. Oh no, I can't. Anyway, we digress.
Fair enough. Lots of good things around that.
Yes, yeah, but no, I think we really did come together and unite through COVID, and I guess in times of trauma as well is when you really see united cultures.
Yeah.
You're in the battle together, and but I want a nice place to work, and that's ultimately what I'm striving to do, and it is a big part of my rocks and goals through this year.
Amazing. So, culture versus strategy. How do you find the balance?
What's the saying? Culture eats strategy for breakfast, or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we. As I was saying, the further you go out from the heart, the more disconnect there is, and it's never-ending work to try and bridge that gap. And if we look within our organisation, the back office team are close to me, the culture, the goals, and it's communication, I guess, really, which is at the heart of stretching that outwards to the people on the front line. And if you think now we spread across 3 counties, and that stretch has put pressure on our culture. And I think a critique that comes back at me, quite often is, it's not as close, it's not as family as it used to be. And I get it, because it probably doesn't feel that way, because they don't see me every day. They don't hear my voice, or every single day we have a team now of 63 people, and they don't see it. It is still there. It hasn't changed, but it's how you communicate that. So I guess really, how do we find the balance? You never stop the process of seeking ways to communicate better. So yeah, and it is, as I keep saying, and I've said it a lot of times already through this pod. Sorry, everybody, but it's a never-ending objective is to keep communicating.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've trying that in different ways. Giving everyone an email address now, having their own sort of personal space to be able to communicate with each other and with us.
Yeah.
I know that lots of them talk over the phone.
Yeah.
They're always keeping in touch. They have built this sort of, you know, friendships between them.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, if you think of all the different communication channels today, never had so many. Email, Slack, Google Messenger, and all of these different things. Telephones. Not that people seem to have forgotten telephones now. It's all messaging, isn't it? But it's never been easier to communicate, and yet everybody says that communication's worse than ever.
Exactly.
And I wonder what sometimes if it's just there's so many different. It's making sure that the right communication is going in the right way, and it gets so complex, doesn't it? But, and I mean, one of the rocks for this year, we haven't really. So if anybody ever, if you ever get a chance to read the book Traction, a fantastic book, actually had a huge influence on me. I've read it in 2019, and it's a really good book about structure of various things, from actually how to create values and culture and purpose. But one of the other things is the rhythm of a rhythm for business traction, which is about a systemized way of meeting and following up, and part of this is a 90-day planning meeting, which happens obviously every 90 days. A little hint in the title there. But out of that, you really dig deep into what are the priorities for the next quarter, and rocks or projects, big projects come out, and you allocate those to the relative people. For me, it's about culture, and it'll probably be culture all the way through this year, and a few of the initiatives that I'm just about to launch, though, is another communication channel, which is an internal survey system that will communicate with our team and ask them a very simple question. So it says it's a survey, and we'll be asking one question. So rate from 1 to 10. I'm just 1 to 10. Oh, here we go. Yeah, surveying. It's a happiness question, it's to monitor the happiness of the team. And this is a big thing. I want to know on a pulse every single month, how our team feeling, And the question that is going forward is from 1 to 10, rate how likely you are to recommend Sussex Beds as a place to work. And it seems like an odd question, because at first I was thinking, maybe we need to ask, how happy are you? How are things going? 1 to 10, and then you can sort of get a figure out of there every single month, which will give you an NPS score. Anyway, I sort of dug into it, and if you ask that direct question, your answers may be a bit skewed because you're sort of leading at happiness and all this sort of thing. And that's where this question come out. And when you think about it, if you're not likely to recommend Sussex Beds or your workplace as a place to work, you're obviously not happy.
Yeah.
And so even by answering that question, you will indicate how happy you are within the business. And then, of course, there's a space there to feedback if there's with your thoughts, your issues, your ideas. So every single month, and that's just about to start. In fact, the first service, it'll be open first 7 days of every month. And that starts tomorrow, 1st of May.
Brilliant, yes.
Yeah, so,
okay.
Yeah, so, and so that's one thing that I'm just about to launch. And then over the course of the next 12 months, it'll be a lot more communication things such as that, to build that rapport and connections, and so I can reach out and hear what's going on.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I've got one here about weekly huddles.
Weekly huddles, yeah. And that,
do you want to tell everyone what that is?
Yeah, so So again, this is something company-wide. Every single team, so we have full team stores, and we have the back office here, we have the transport areas, and every single week, every team will get together for a weekly huddle. And it's really a 10-minute, 15-minute team get-together. And it's about sharing kudos, and I think that's a really important place to share kudos, to any updates, but also some fun as well. I mean, if I look at us here within our office, and there's about 16 of us here, part of that is the kudos game, we call it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think over the period that we've been doing the kudos game, and the kudos game is I prepare the meeting, and I will list out various kudos for people that have done some really exceptional work throughout that week. Yeah, and I have it all written out, and then the kudos game is not me telling anyone what that kudos is for the team to provide kudos to all of their colleagues. Now, if they tick off every bit of kudos that's on my list, they win.
I'm not sure we've ever won.
Yes, last week.
Did it? Oh,
you weren't here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
For the first time ever.
Won the game.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
for the first time ever, I lost the crown. So they guessed all of my kudos lists. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, so we do that, and then we just do a quick gunshot around the room of their biggest wins for that week. So everybody will just say what their biggest wins, and it could be personal, it could be business related, but it's just a win for that week. And then of course we do the bed knob of the week,
which
I think Josh mentioned last week.
We
didn't
did.
we? Yeah. So we do that as well. So again, it's just communication, bit of fun. And it just spreads the same vibe throughout, and that happens in every team. I'm not saying that the kudos game does, but I think the rest of it does.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Another bit of culture. Yeah.
So, Steve, where's your inspiration come from for all these new culture rocks?
Various things, really. I mean, I find LinkedIn a great resource for just networking with other leaders. I'm part of a Vistage group, which again is really good for speakers to prompt just ideas and inspiration. But also recently I've been doing a lot more reading. Yeah. And I say that because I'm not a great reader. I think actually, and I sort of touched it, undiagnosed dyslexic, so I do struggle to read, but I do find it the best way of learning and reading properly. I've tried the listening ones.
Okay, like audio
books.
book,
Yeah, that's it. The listening ones.
Yeah.
And my problem with those is that I'm listening away and ideas are sparking, and then by the time I know it, half an hour's gone and I've missed the whole book. So I do find reading properly, and I have to sit down. And recently been taking time out, actually going to places and reading. And a couple of the books that have really just ignited excitement. I read Legacy, which is about the All Blacks and their culture, which was bloody incredible, actually. Yeah, really eye-opening. And again, it's another link between sport and business, isn't it? And how sport and business are very, 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 very similar in many ways. And it spoke, what I found really is inspiring was hearing, they call it sweeping the sheds. And sweeping the sheds was about how nobody is bigger than the team. Mm-hmm. And the All Blacks won the Rugby World Cup, and before they come back to the dressing room, and all, the crowds are still screaming and shouting in the stadium, and they come back into the change room, and every single one of them, didn't matter their level, their kudos, their position, their fame, every single one of them all muck together and sweep the shed, and it's as pristine as it was when they walked in. And I just, that to me is amazing. And the same thing is, one of their values is being humble, and I love that, being humble.
Yeah.
And if I look at our own values, I do believe actually that should be one of ours. One of ours currently is honest, and I've read several books actually where honest should be a given; it shouldn't be a value.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see that.
And and this is the great thing with values. They're still evolving, they're still changing. Just because you put them down doesn't mean you can't change them. And I do think at some point that humility, I think, is a big part of our culture. Without it actually being there, I think, and this is where sometimes people don't fit into cultures. It's not what's wrong with them. Sometimes cultures are, if you don't fit in, if you're an individual, everything's about you and your success, you probably wouldn't fit into Sussex Beds.
No.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's about finding a business that you do fit into. For us, it's actually being a team and winning as a team.
Totally.
Individual success, as in, I'm so great, probably wouldn't go down very well within our organisation.
No,
in fact, I can think of
wouldn't.
instances where there's been some exceptional salespeople.
Yeah.
But probably for that reason, that it was all about them, they didn't really fit in and gel, and moved on probably for the good of themselves. So I think that's where culture comes in as well. Just because we have lovely words, maybe those words don't align with you, and it's stressful trying to bend yourself into something that maybe you're not.
Definitely. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So it's time for quickfire questions.
Okay, here we are.
Are you ready?
Quickfire questions.
Okay.
Question number 1.
Here we go. Which culture rock are you most excited about?
Ooh. Well, it's probably one I haven't mentioned yet, and it's my next one on the list, which is what have I called it? The Kudos Wheel.
Ooh.
Yeah. And actually, Kudos Wheel, Hero Wheel or something. I still haven't finalised.
Yeah.
But the idea is that our entire team, individuals, so any colleague can vote a colleague for doing something that helped them every single month. Yeah. And I picked this up actually from a Vistage speaker, and I thought, this is brilliant, because what he was explaining was, at first, and there might be a small gift or prize or whatever it is, but so you collate these names through the month. Everybody nominates each other and their colleagues, and then you can put them onto a big wheel, and then we'll do maybe a video each month, spin the wheel, and everybody will see their names that have been nominated going around on the wheel, and someone will win and get the prize. But what this speaker explained was, in the end, it wasn't about the winning. It was about having your name on that list.
Yeah.
And then you, in your newsletter the following month, we haven't mentioned newsletter.
No,
that's
we
another
haven't.
thing,
Yeah,
which, again, communication.
Yeah.
In newsletter, you then publish the full list of everybody that was nominated.
Lovely.
So I'm really excited.
You're excited about
yeah,
that.
because I think it's not just the kudos, it's allowing me to have a video moment each month as well, again improving that communication. So that one's coming.
Cool. That's exciting.
I don't think I've even said to our team yet.
No.
So
We've got a week.
Yeah. Oh God.
One word to describe the Sussex Beds culture.
Oh, Well, yeah, it's difficult to get away from those value words. It's going to be a bit cliche though, isn't it? Family. I think that I've got to say family, because I think that is a bit cliche, but I do feel that everyone is a member of the family. When you join the business, you become a member of the family, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool. We'll have that.
Is it really? Yeah. Is that a bit cheesy? A bit yuck?
No, it's not. It's built on family values.
It is.
It?
Yeah.
So.
I've just got to be honest.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, see, honest. You see?
Honest, another one. And again,
I've just taken responsibility and being honest.
Exactly. You fit right in.
Yeah, 100% committed.
Is a culture fit more important than a skill set?
Definitely. Yeah, I think I touched on that.
Yeah.
You can teach skills. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic when people and people have skills that come into the business, but I think if you don't fit in culturally, then it's always going to be an uphill struggle.
Yeah, that's fine.
So absolutely.
Cool. Last one.
Yeah.
If you were to add a value to ours, what would it be?
Which
you've already said already. Yeah.
I'm going to have to think of another one now. So
it's all right.
Humility for me, I really do think. We appreciate humility, and I think sometime, and again, you see, you're getting this news before anybody else. I think at some point, then it will become the fifth.
Yeah.
Although we got 5, I'll probably drop honest, because you should be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it. That's quickfire questions.
Is that fit? Oh, yeah, I've done well there.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah. What next?
So it's time for tip of the week.
Tip of the week. Yeah. So now, okay. So tip of the week. This isn't my tip. So after our first podcast went out, I had so many messages just saying that they enjoyed it and maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, and all this sort of stuff. But someone sent me through a tip.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I thought, you know what? Actually, wouldn't it be good if it's not just my tips, but actually tips of listeners?
Definitely. So if you've got a tip, you can email us at unorthodoxceo@sussexbeds.co.uk.
Wow, yeah, you said that well. I'd have bumbled through that just trying to say that. Yeah, it was very easy for you to say. Anyway, so this is a tip of the week, and this was from a friend of mine called Liz. And she sent in a tip. Hi, Liz. If I know you'll be listening. So this is your tip, and I thought I would read it out because I think it really resonated with me, and I think it might resonate with others. So this is Liz's tip. Liz's tip. My top tip: do something or do nothing. That is the mantra I live by when it comes to work and projects. It's basically my way of saying, make a decision, either crack on with it or consciously park it. But don't get stuck in limbo trying to make it perfect before you start. Now, I thought that was really cool. And Liz has done an example. Take the iPhone, for example. They never wait until it's flawless. They launch it, get feedback, and then keep making it better. That's how I think businesses should run. Try something, learn from it, tweak it. It's way better than sitting on an idea trying to make it perfect. And I replied to this and I said to her, it reminds me of a meme, a picture that I saw once, and it was of an artist with a very fine brush painting a line in the middle of the road. So line painting, the lines in the middle of the road. Yeah. And a very fine brush painting that. And of course, it's a bit overkill. It's not necessary for a line to be absolutely perfect. And it just reminded me of that actually, some things in life you need to be spot on. If you're in the aircraft industry, then everything has to be correct. But line painting doesn't, and I think it's realising, how perfect does it need to be before you get going? And I think so many people procrastinate and stop themselves from doing something because it's not quite perfect. Yeah. Take our podcast. Is it perfect? No.
Not yet.
But we're just going with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're having fun.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting better every single time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And that's all to do with our culture, because it's fine. It doesn't matter if it's not quite perfect.
Doesn't matter if I accidentally move my hands and knock the microphone, as I've done twice.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
That's it.
We're time for our outro.
Our outro.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Pod listeners, let's give you the outro. And that's a wrap. And that is a wrap. That's a wrap. I've been asked to remind you, as I'm asked every single week, to press that follow button, and so that you get notified of new episodes. Don't forget, if you've got this far, then you might as well leave a rating. Don't forget to follow us, to subscribe, whichever one it is, so that you don't miss an episode, because you don't want to miss one. You know, who knows what's coming next? So you want to keep in the loop. Next week, it's not just me and Victoria in the room. We've got someone else coming into the room, and it's going to be my cousin John, who's our operations director. So you need to tune in and listen to John, who's been doing some exceptional work on managing our costs. Obviously, you know, with recent changes from the budget and the increases that all businesses have seen, I think it's really important you tune in and with some ideas on what he's done to offset some of those cost increases. So I think it's really topical, and he can go through how he joined the business and and how it's changed over the years. So remember, new episodes dropping every single Wednesday. Don't forget to tune in. And if you want any more unfiltered business talk, you can always find me on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn at an Unorthodox CEO. So with that, I am wishing you good morning if you're listening in the morning, good day if you're listening while you're eating your lunch, and good night if you're just listening before you go to bed. Night now. Goodbye.
Yay.
Is that good?
Yeah. Well,
you like that one?
Yeah, that's good.